to somebody on that consistent, persistent pursuit of their passion or thinking about it, either or, it's always nice when you're in that persistent pursuit to get reminded of some of these things. What's your number one piece of advice for that person on that persistent pursuit?
Oh, geez. I mean, it's always going to be scary. It's always going to be difficult. There's always going to be a reason not to do things, but just living with regret is the worst life I can possibly imagine. And, there are all these different movies and books and everything about, manifesting your dreams and all this like esoteric bullshit. But all that really means is putting yourself out there, right? Like when you're talking about manifesting and taking what you want, the reason those things happen is because you put yourself into situations that you wouldn't have otherwise, right? If you're sitting at home and you're not talking to anyone, no one's going to come knocking on your fucking door to hand you any opportunity. But even if you're like sweating bullets and pacing back and forth and it feels horrible to get up and speak in a Twitter space, but you go ahead and push the button and get up there and do it, one of those little connections can literally change your life. And inaction is just the worst thing you could possibly do. And I don't care what you're doing, just do something. Just do anything, something. It'll lead you somewhere.
100%. 100%. And that's why I wanted to ask it, because I knew it would segue perfect into taking action, because you're somebody who I watch do it all the time. Like, even going back to what we talked about earlier, that purse. Like, you just, yeah, that thought, and you're like, fuck it, we'll see how this works out. And you just
Yeah,
do. It doesn't matter. And that's what I respect so much about you. What's the importance? Like, you talked about it, like, just jump. Just go for it, figure it out. But
just
like,
throw it all at the
yeah.
wall. Like
Yeah.
throw
Yeah.
everything at the wall. And so I have super bad ADHD. So it's probably next level for me. Like I have a new like path in life every 30 minutes. Like I can see a whole new. So maybe don't be as ridiculous as me. But you just don't know. Like people will always tell you, it's not the thing that I thought was going to make me big. It's not the
Mm.
song that I thought was the greatest song. It's not that, it, and you stumble into successes sometimes that take you places that you never would have planned for yourself. So just throw it all.
Hell yeah. I love that. Throw it all at the wall and see what happens. I love it. One more thing before we because I got, it's my favorite segment of the day. It's the closing segment of the day. And you, young lady, you're not getting out of it, no matter how
Okay.
hard you try. But before we get onto that, I want you to take a second, because I selfishly I need the alpha on it too. Dead Will Rise. I know you guys
Yeah,
are also kind of working with Crooks Nation, which I'm heavily invested in them too.
sure.
What you got going on? Any alpha you can spill for the people?
Absolutely. So this is kind of what we were talking about. This is a cross community collaborative event. And it's my dev. I wish he could have been here too. Thomas is just amazing. Like I come up with ideas
B two,
3,000
B
times
two.
a day. Yeah. And I'm like, how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? And that's kind of how this idea came about. Like we were just like, man, it's Halloween coming up. Of course, everybody expects something from me for Halloween. Like, how do I not do a Halloween something? And everything was just so depressing with all the regular projects. We're like, let's just do something fun, right? So, Dead Will Rise. It's free to mint. There are you don't have to do any transactions at all. You can just mint and see what your luck is. Maybe you win, maybe you don't. And it's a zombie based post apocalyptic survival game, essentially, that's played on the blockchain. So you don't have to
Oh,
log into anything, you don't have to do anything. You've mint for free. You can play as groups or as individuals. So just like real life, if you play in a group, you've got an advantage, of course. More people, there's protection in numbers. Um, and there's two winners. So you'll have an individual winner and you'll have whatever community made it the furthest. And they can do with that pot whatever they want to do. So let's say the crooks win the community pot and they want to just take however much money it ends up being and buy their own floor and give crooks away. They could do that if they want to. It's none of our business. The more people that play, the more people that interact, the more money is in the pot. And
Oh,
So it
really?
could be like we're going to guarantee that there's at least a half an ETH in there, but it could be 50 ETH, you know, and there's two winners. One makes 20%, one makes 30%. So um I think it's going to be a blast. It'll be a kind of a choose your own adventure sort of thing. Every day there will be something that you can make a decision about that if you make the right decision, it'll push you forward. The wrong decision, it'll bring you back a little bit. But the characters are minted with their own, it's just like any other mint. You can end up with a good or a bad character. So they're going to have their own strength and their own luck and attributes. So I don't know anyone that's done anything like this. It's going to be fun to see how it plays out. It's going to be a blast to play with all our friends. The Noids are playing. The Pixie Jars are playing. There's a bunch of people, but it should be a blast.